Now, Nike have just released the latest version of what has to be their biggest selling, best known daily trainer of all time. But for once, there wasn't a massive hype surrounding the release and it just kind of floated out onto the market. So we managed to get our hands on a pair of the new Pegasus 39s, and in today's video, we're going to be taking them out for their first run and we're bringing you guys along for the ride. Welcome back, folks. I'm Lloyd Purvis and this is Run4Adventure. Now, we are back with some road running content on the channel today, and if you've followed us for a while, you'll probably already know about my sort of love-hate relationship with the Nike brand. By this I mean a lot of the road running offerings that I've tested and reviewed, I've really got on with, really been impressed with the performance. And when it comes to their trail running department, I've pretty much hated everything. Now, that might be me being a bit too harsh, and hate is a very strong word, but all the trail running kit that we've ever tested, I've always been left very disappointed and super frustrated because the performance just isn't there. And when you think of Nike with the money, the know-how they have, they should be producing some of the best trail running kit out there, and that's just not the case. However, they do know a thing or two about making road running shoes, and I'm a massive fan of their Vaporfly Next Percent 2. I love running in that shoe. I think it has to be one of the best race day shoes or marathon day shoes ever made. I was also a fan of the Pegasus 37. I thought it was a really underrated and very versatile daily trainer. You know, it performed well at slow speeds and it had a bit of pop to it at them higher tempo sessions. Unfortunately, when we crossed over to 38s, they added a bit of weight. The shoe just became a bit heavier, a bit clumpier, and it didn't feel that responsive anymore. On first sight, I think the 39s are going to run a lot more like the 37s, so that's definitely a good thing in my book. I tried them on when they arrived just to check the sizing, and they actually felt very comfortable on my feet, so I've got high hopes for the latest version. Just before we get running, I'll give you a few facts and figures and a bit of information about the new changes that have been made. So it now retails for £109.95, which I actually think isn't a bad price, especially in today's crazy running shoe world and the way the prices are going through the roof. And that's for a high volume mileage daily workhorse trainer. So I think that's pretty fair. And I'm happy to say it's been made a lot lighter, which, like I just mentioned, is definitely a good thing in my book because that weight increase to the 38s definitely affected the performance in a negative way. So it now weighs in at only 280 grams in a men's UK 9.5, which I actually think, again, for a daily workhorse trainer, 280 grams is a pretty good weight and a big saving off the previous version. As far as the new upper design goes, we've had a bit of extra padding added to that tongue just for sort of top of the foot comfort. We have still got a gusseted tongue in that upper, but Nike have added in some of their fly wire technology. So I don't know whether you can see that, but where them fly wires loop around the laces, it works through all the way down to the midfoot there. You can just make that out through that mesh upper. So again, as you pull those laces tight, it's going to pull that fly wire technology around your midfoot as well. So you should feel really well supported and really well locked down around the midfoot in this shoe. We've got a nice lightweight breathable mesh construction going on in the upper, and it's actually like a sort of double layered construction. So it feels like it's going to be nice and durable and hold up to all those training miles. Good structure and padding in that heel and around the ankle collar, and we got that sort of flared heel design thing going on. Speaking of design, I'm a big fan of the way the new shoe looks, and I really like this colorway. When I went on to purchase a pair, this was the only option I had available, so it was pretty good luck that I liked the way it looked. I think you do have quite a few color options available now though. Moving down to the all-important midsole and outsole, and there's been some big changes here as well. So the first one being that Nike have added an extra air zoom unit to the new Pegasus 39. So not only do you get one under your forefoot, but you also get one under your heel now. So literally worked into that midsole are two little bags of air. So like I said, one under your forefoot, one under your heel. So just to give you that little bit more pop on toe off, but also to try and make that transition from heel to toe a little bit smoother. You still get a full Nike React foam midsole to give you that sort of lightweight, comfortable, responsive feel and good levels of durability. Always been a big fan of the React compound from Nike. I think it gives a really good balance between comfort and performance. We've had a slight redesign on the shape of the back end of that midsole, and we've got some added flex screws to the outsole just to allow a more natural motion. There you have it, the all new Pegasus 39 from Nike. Obviously this is just our first impressions review, and we're going to be putting a lot of miles in this shoe over the next couple of weeks, and then we'll be back with our full in-depth review where we go into the compounds, the materials, the construction in a lot more detail. But for today, we've got a 7 to 8 mile run planned, nice and steady at the start, and then we're going to work a few quicker miles into the middle of the session just to see how the new Pegasus handles the quicker stuff. So let's get changed, let's grab the cameras, and let's go running. Right, so 2.2 miles done so far. It is a beautiful day out here, but it is a busy day. Lots of traffic on the roads, lots of people on the pavements. Obviously, it is half term at the moment, and living in Cornwall, we get a massive influx of tourists, and when the blue sky is out and the sun is shining, obviously they all come out to play. So I've been having to dodge a few people along the way. But as far as first impressions on the new Pegasus, I think the first thing I noticed was the fit and how different it was to the previous version. So the 38 sized up quite small for me. I got a UK 9.5 and I could have probably done with a 10, especially on the longer runs. Whereas the 39s seem true to size. I've got good space in the toe, good room, so I don't think I'd have a problem running any distance in them. Having that fly-wire system feels nice and fitted around my midfoot, and I feel really well locked down in the heel, which again, that heel lockdown was an issue for some people in the 37s and the 38. So good so far, but 2.2 miles done, let's crack on. We have just ticked over 3.5 miles, so the legs are feeling nice and loose now. Whenever I'm running on the road, I always tend to do a few mobility exercises before I get running, and I take the first sort of 2 or 3 miles really steady, nice and easy, and get the legs nice and loose before we work up to any type of tempo stuff. But 3.5 miles in, so the next couple of miles we're gonna up the pace a bit. Nothing crazy, probably 6:30, 6:45, just to see how the new Pegasus would handle a sort of tempo run. So let's stretch the legs out, let's start running a bit quicker. That is the first quicker mile done. I'd say we've been averaging about 6:35. Oh my God, I'm so unfit. 6:35 for a mile, and it feels like hard work, but the shoe definitely feels more responsive than the previous version. I think that big weight saving has made all the difference. It feels easier to get up on your toes, whereas the 38 felt a little bit flat. Didn't have that sort of pop or spring to it. It was quite hard to push on when you're trying to run quicker. So yeah, definitely an improvement when it comes to the overall weight of the shoe, and it feeling more responsive at faster paces. So all good. Right, one more quicker mile to go. Let's see if I can hang on. Right, that is pretty much a wrap on the first run in the new Pegasus. We've done 7 miles, we've got about half a mile to go till home, so a good 7.5 miles straight out the box. First thing, it is a very comfortable place to be. You know, it's been a pleasant run. In fact, it's like running in a pair of slippers, if I'm honest. But performance-wise, it was great to stretch the legs out for those quicker miles. Although it has highlighted I have a long way to go when it comes to my overall fitness, that's for sure. But the shoe definitely felt a bit more lively than the previous version. Although I'm not as sure it felt as lively as the Pegasus 37s. They felt like they gave a little bit more sort of energy return on toe off. This felt a little bit firmer under the forefoot. That might be just because it's a new shoe and it needs to bed in and soften up a bit. I've got to be honest, having sort of tested and reviewed the Floatride Energy 4 from Reebok a few weeks ago, that shoe has set the bar high when it comes to sort of daily workhorse trainers, especially when I only paid $56.25 for the shoe with a bit of discount, and it's only £75 at full retail. So I think we need to get back to the flat and break down the performance of this shoe in a bit more detail and find out if it is worth pretty much double the price of that Floatride Energy 4. Another solid run under my belt, and I actually feel like I'm getting somewhere with my fitness, and it has been a long time since I've been able to say that. So a positive run on every front. You know, I felt good, and the fit of the new Pegasus 39 felt great on my foot shape. The gusseted tongue gave it a real kind of foot hugging experience, and I think having that fly wire system now really works well. I really wasn't sure whether that was just a bit of a gimmick, but it really does seem to give you that extra bit of lockdown around your midfoot. Definitely the best fitting version of the shoe if I compare it against the 37 or the previous 38s. I know a lot of runners had slippage issues in both of those models, so this definitely feels like the most secure version in a big way. The level of padding in the tongue, around the heel and the ankle are just right for me, so very, very comfortable but not over padded in any way. I'm a big fan of the laces, so they do feel a little bit like those fantastic laces that you get in the Vaporfly Next Percent 2. They're not exactly the same, but they do have these small little notches on them, so they allow you to get a really good lockdown around that midfoot, and then them laces don't come loose while you're running. I would say that it's still a pretty narrow fitting shoe. There's not a lot of width there, and I think that's why it works so well for my foot shape. So if you did have a bit of width, I don't think it's really going to work out for you in this upper. Fortunately, Nike are doing the new Pegasus in a width fit option. So there is an option there if you feel you need a bit of extra width and volume in the toe box. So all in all, really happy with the great fit and those levels of comfort in the new upper design. When it comes down to midsole performance, we started the run with a couple of steady, slower miles, and in true React foam style, the shoe felt very cushioned underfoot. I wouldn't say it's a deeply cushioned road running shoe like a Hoka Clifton or a Hoka Bondi, but still feels very comfortable at those slower tempos. But big improvements all round when it comes to sort of crossing over to those quicker sessions and upping the pace. I think a lot of that comes down to the big weight savings. The new version just feels a lot lighter, more responsive, and a lot better balanced than when you compare it to that sort of slightly flat and a bit uninspiring 38. I would have liked maybe a little bit more bounce under my forefoot from that Air Zoom unit. I don't know whether Nike have changed the pressures in that unit from the 37s, but they definitely seem to sort of return a bit more energy at those higher tempos. I'm hoping it's just going to take a bit of bedding in, and then maybe that forefoot of the shoe will soften up a bit. So initial thoughts are good when it comes to all the new updates, and when you think back to the fit issues and the heel slipping issues in the 37s and 38s, I think the new Pegasus is a big step in the right direction, and my initial thoughts are it's probably going to be the best version of the shoe since the Pegasus 36. I suppose the question that we want to answer is it worth spending that extra bit of money when you compare it to that Floatride Energy 4 from Reebok? And at the moment, it's quite hard to answer that question. The one thing I definitely know is the Pegasus works better for my particular foot shape. I felt a lot more sort of locked in and dialed into that midfoot. The whole upper just felt a lot more secure around my foot. I didn't ever have any lateral or medial slippage like I did have a little bit of in the Reebok shoe. So I think the best thing we can do is get a few more miles in both of the daily trainers, put them both through a full in-depth review, and then I think we'll be in a better place to answer that question. There you have it, the all-new Pegasus 39 from Nike, and what we thought about its performance out on its initial run. Really hope you enjoyed the video and you found it helpful. If you did, guys, you know what to do. Smash that like button, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Don't forget to hit that bell icon so you'll be notified when we upload any new exciting content. Always great to get your feedback. So if you've purchased a pair of the new 39s and you put some miles in them, especially if you ran in the 37s and the 38s, what do you think about the new updates? Do you think there's been big improvements made? Do you prefer the fit of the new shoe? Let us know in the comments below. Don't forget you can follow us on all our other social media platforms, whether it be Instagram, Facebook or Strava. But until next time, guys, thanks for watching, thanks for supporting the channel, it's always appreciated. And as always, stay safe and keep on running. Floated out onto the market, and the whole event could have been very easily missed. But we managed to get our hands on a pair of their brand new Nike Pegasus 39s. And in today's run, we're going to be taking them out. Today's video.